Hello friends, today is Friday, January 6th. Today in Honors Biology class we conducted a simple statistics experiment looking at the chocolate chip count in two different brands of chocolate chip cookies. We started off with the generic noted in column A. Here is the class data for one of their classes. In column B we have the second brand, Chipums, and here is the chip count from each of the students. So what we're going to do is first calculate the average for each of the two brands and then the standard deviation. To calculate the average for the generic, we're going to select the box where we want the information to go by doing this. Then we're going to scroll up to function. The insert function box, when clicked, provides all the different opportunities. I want to select average. Yours may not have average listed first, but you can scroll down and find average, or type the brief description here to find it faster. So I'm going to click average. Okay. It's asking which numbers I'd like to average, so I'm going to highlight all the numbers in the generic column, and then I'm going to press OK. There we go. Next I'm going to collect the average for Chipums. I'd like the value to be in this box, so I'm going to select the Chipums box. Again, I'm going to insert function. Click on average. Okay, it's asking me which data I'd like to use to calculate the average, so I am going to highlight this data and press OK. The next step I have is to calculate the standard deviation for each of these groups of data. I would like the standard deviation value to be placed in this box, so I'm going to select that. Then I'm going to select insert function again. This time I'm going to use the standard deviation option, STDEV. Again, yours might be farther down the list, so you have to scroll down to find it. But once you find it, select it. OK. It's asking me which data I'd like to use, so I'm going to go back over here again. I'm going to highlight this data. OK. There's my standard deviation for generic. And then for Chipums, I'm going to do the same thing. Highlight the box where I want the value to be placed. I'm going to select the function, standard deviation, OK, highlight the data, and OK. Now I have the average and the standard deviation for each of the generic and Chipums. I'm going to make all these the same font so you're not worried about why they're different sizes. Alright, the next step is we would like to make a table of the generic and the Chipum averages. So what we're going to do is highlight the titles and the two averages. By highlighting the averages, by highlighting the names, when I create the table, we will have that information already inserted. So I'm going to insert a table. I'm going to choose a column. And I'm just going to pick the first one, the simplest one. There we go. There we have it. Here is my table. You can select the box and right-click to format the grid lines, the axes, to put titles, to make it bigger, to change the minimum and the maximum. You can do the same thing for the bottom. Now, as discussed in class, we need to put the standard deviation on here because it's the standard deviation that's going to give us a true value of the measure of the spread. So, to add that, I'm going to select one of the boxes, or one of the columns rather. It doesn't matter which one. I'm going to go to the top, and under Chart Tools I'm going to select Layout. From Layout I'm going to go to Error Bars. It gives me some of the stock Excel answers. However, because I've spent the time to calculate the standard deviation, we're going to create, or rather insert our own. Here we are, we have our formatter in Error Bars. I want to use the Custom choice at the very bottom. And then it's going to ask me to specify the value if you're using the custom option. So specifying the value. For the positive error value, how high do I want it to go? I'm going to select this box. Which data I want? Here's the standard. This is where I put the standard deviation for both. In. Click Enter on my keyboard. Now I'm going to go, how far do I want the error bars to go down? Here's the negative error value. Again, I'm going to highlight this value, these two values, both the standard deviation values. Click Enter on my keyboard, press OK, and then close. And here we have it. We've got a graph of the averages rather than the raw data. I've got error bars, and because they, as we discussed in class, they do overlap, we can conclude that the data, although is different because they're at different averages, that it's not a significant difference because they overlap. Hope this helps.